Hello YouTube, this is Kevin with Double D Construction. I'm going to do another video, and I want to do it on some of the new things I was doing with the dozer and doing some updates on that. And then also I wanted to do a video showing some of the things that you'll run into, like when you do custom parts. As awesome and amazing as they are, like look at this. This is the grill for the dozer made by a guy named Thomas at RC Construction Projects. No, I am not sponsored. I'm just super excited and very happy with his work, and I want to support anyone helping improve this hobby. So anyways, it's a fantastic grill. It's absolutely beautiful, and very well done, very good craftsmanship. But there's an issue that you'll run into a lot of times with stuff like this. Everything on it is very well made, like I said. All the holes are drilled and tapped. It should just install right on there, right? Well, yeah, it does. But he powder coated it, which is awesome because that's what you should do, right? Well, the problem with that is when you powder coat, he already had all the holes drilled and tapped, so he powder coated and it gets down in the threads. So it makes it kind of a pain to put the bolts in. Now, on a larger bolt, you know, you're looking at M6s and stuff, like on a car, who cares? You can roll it in there and you can just tighten it in there with a socket wrench and no big deal. Although what you should do, like with anything, is tap it out. And the reason why you do that is to cut out that powder coating and make the threads all nice and pretty and easy to roll into. Well, with an M2, the bolts are a lot weaker, so I would definitely recommend doing that. And so having a nice tap set, like I discussed in a previous video, is always helpful for things like this. And in this hobby, most of it that I've seen has been M2 on these machines. I mean, there's obviously other sizes. There's a lot of other sizes, but M2 seems to be the more common thing. So I'm just going to show you real quick how to tap them and just how quick this can go. It's important to do this setup. If you notice, I've already done all the other 5. So I'm just going to do this last one. What you'll see is, so it's threaded, so you of course want to be careful. You want to make sure it's straight, and you just turn it in by hand, right? Well, at some point it will catch the threads, which is what you want. You go to turn it in there, and it'll fight until it's done, right? Now it's stopped. Okay, and that's not what you want. That means that that powder coat is in the threads and it's gumming up the threads. So I did it by hand as far as I want to do it. I'm going to take this guy and stick it on there. And a lot of times with things, especially that are this small, you don't want to use the wide swing of the handle like this because you don't need the torque. You can usually just grab down near the tap itself. Just use your fingers to tighten it into there, right? And usually when you're tapping, you get a couple threads in. It's in there pretty sturdy, and you back up. And then you go forward a little bit more, and you back up. And you go forward a little bit more. And you just keep doing that and repeating this. And the reason why you're doing that is you're cleaning those threads out, okay? Because it cuts. And when you go in, it kind of gunks up a little bit, so you don't want to damage anything, so then you back up, and that releases that. That's why you're going back and forth. It's because you're cleaning out the threads, and by doing that, you're cleaning them out real good. And that should be about it. Now it's getting really weak. It's not fighting me at all. And now I can just use one finger on each side and turn it right through. Really nice and easy. That means that it was done properly. So you can see this, the tap sticking out. Can't see it through my finger. You can see it here, sticking through. Usually going about halfway in is good, so we'll just keep back and forth until it gets, I don't want to call it loose because you never want it loose. You just want it to be smooth. Alright, so it's back and forth, getting it smooth. So now that's halfway through like that, those threads should be good. Now I can just turn it and it'll get real easy. Yep, real easy. And I'll just take a lot of times I'll take the tool off and then I'll just do it by hand unless it binds again. See, now I can unscrew it by hand. That's it. So now, if you look in there, I don't know if you can see it, probably not. And you can see the shininess of the silver. And now all the powder coat is out of the way. Now the bolt just goes right in. And you can screw it right in. And it'll go all the way in there. By hand. All the way through. So, just doing little things like that will make your modeling experience a lot easier, simpler, and you should anyways, just to make sure you keep the threads protected. So I'm going to cut the video here, and then I'm going to set this up so I can start putting it onto the front and hood, and then I'll demo that too. Anyways, I'll be back in just a minute, and we'll see you here shortly. And welcome back. Now I am going to get ready to install the grill on the front piece of the dozer. As you see, I've gone and decided to do the black paint scheme, the black striped paint scheme that they tend to do on the Cat D10s. Of course, I did the mounts, I did all this, I did the cylinders, I did the hood, and I did the front part in front of the hood. I also did the roof, because on a lot of the Cats they also have a black roof. So, let's see if I can get it in there. So, there's the roof. A nice black to match everything else. I kind of wish I'd have gone with a semi-gloss instead of a gloss, but Cat does use gloss black, so it does work. If I knew how to take the plastic out of the cab, the plastic glass, like the glass pieces, quote unquote, they're plastic. If I knew how to get those out, I haven't figured that out yet, I would have painted those at the same time I did everything else. But for now, I'm really happy with what we've got going on so far. I was able to get everything decaled, so yeah, I'm super excited. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get the grill mounted up, so that way I can install it. And let's see, we're gonna get these out of the way here. And what I'm gonna do first is install a couple bolts to make sure that the grill stays in place, and then the other two I will thread lock, and then I'll remove the two that were holding it in place and thread lock those. So anyways, that's the plan, and then I will show you everything I've done so far. Now I like this setup of bolt a lot, because then I can just stick it in here and it'll hold pretty well. I mean, it's not perfect, it's definitely still loose enough to fall out, or can, but doesn't always. As you see, it's staying in the tool even sideways. Go down a little bit, it stays in, so that's helpful. I definitely like that. Of course, part of that could be because it's new and not used yet. However, really, is this what we're gonna do? There we go. So this is the blue goo or blue thread locker I was talking about. You definitely don't want to lay the tube down, it will leak out. But it's gel, which is super convenient, because being gel, it stays on there real good, and it doesn't play this game of just leaking all over the place. It does get air bubbles in it, but that's okay, you just hit it a couple times. And then there's an air bubble, and then you get the actual gel. You get a little bit on there. I'll just lean that on the box, and then I can take this and I can stick it in there, make sure it's lined up, and I just have to tighten it down until it stops, and snug. And that's it. Nice and simple, right? Just the way it should be. On there, you can see it's just like a, maybe you can't see, I can't tell, but it's just like a little bump on there. We're not trying to get it just doused in it, we just want enough that it stays on there, and that's it, and that's all we're going for. An angled back sits right in there, and you screw it in until it stops. Snug bump, and that's it. And now the grill is mounted on there with the new hardware. I could have gone with stainless steel color hardware. I just tend to like the black hardware. It's more industrial, more factory-like. The more factory I could do is maybe if I installed it and then painted it yellow, but I don't really feel like going that far with it. That would just be a lot of paint work and messing around with it, and the first time I touched them they get scratched off anyways, so there's just that little tight. So I don't really see a reason to do that. So just take the little blue goo stuff, just like that. And there's enough to essentially fill a couple threads, and that's more than enough to stick. So now we're going to take this and we're going to screw it in. And that's it. Now it's on there. That grill is on there. It ain't going anywhere. And then of course it's not going to get installed on the frame yet. I want to do a video on putting it all back together. I'm sure you guys would be really excited to see that. I know if I was still waiting for mine to come in, I used to watch all the videos I could find, and it was a lot of fun watching it. And all these guys are really cool. You know, they're just really super nice people. So I'm going to stick those in without the goo, because I'm gonna have to take them off again, so it's kind of a waste to glue them first. So anyways, now I'll show you what we got here. So, oh, not that. So this is the Caterpillar grill. Okay, and that's from RC Construction Projects, with the really nice holes for the hydraulic lines like a real cat. And of course I got the decals I got from Artec. Other than that, I mean, they're decent quality. I wouldn't call them amazing, but they're decent. Definitely not unhappy. And then of course I also did the hood. And the hood, what I did with it, I probably shouldn't have put these cylinders back on here yet. What I did with the hood, also, not only did I paint it black, but the other thing I did is, if you look at it, the handrails, I custom made handrails to look like an actual cat. The originals mounted up here and then finished above this hole here, and that's where they were actually mounted. So what I did is I drilled the hole where I wanted it, and I made my own irons, and there are my own handrails, and then I used an epoxy to plug off the hole, sanded it down real good, and painted it. So you can't even tell that it was there. I'm super stoked at how it turned out. I cut up the D10 logo and put that over here like an actual cat would have. And that's it. I mean, everything else, you know, all the yellow is just what came on the model itself. It's not, the yellow isn't anything special that I did. That is the JD Models yellow. I would like to, at some point, probably get one of these and get the actual cat paint and maybe do one of these in Caterpillar paint. See what the difference is. But for now, I'm super stoked. This is what's changed so far, like what I've been wanting to do. I probably should have done a video on taking apart the hydraulics. I just didn't do it. I kind of wish I had, but we're gonna do a video on putting everything back together so you guys can see how they go back together. So I'm still super stoked about that. And then yeah. So there you go. That's the stuff that I painted on the roof. I'm hoping pretty soon I'll get the display screen in, as I intend on taking this apart at some point to install that. I'm also going to order a regulator that gives me the actual bar of what the pressure is running, so that I can see that manually, and then I can hook it up to the screen, and then the screen will tell me, so I don't even have to open it up to see what the pressure is running. So if it drops or rises significantly, I'll know right away as soon as I look at it, instead of when a line blows or something bad happens, because, you know, who wants that, especially with all the electronics and stuff that are going to be in here. And I will probably, well, I'm sure, I know I will detail the install of the screen also. There's a company called CSMI out of Australia that does a video on how he installed one. I'm going to hopefully be a little bit more detailed, but I mean, his is pretty dang good. His name is also Kevin. And you can get the screens from. Honestly, I went to, I think it's, what is it, Alibaba? I don't know. It's something like that where I found them, and I'm pretty happy with what I ordered. Hopefully it's exactly what I expect it to be. Just a horrible answer, but it's the truth. And but yeah, so that's the last add-on minus the dozer blade that I plan on doing with this thing. And I'm going to start assembly, so I'm pretty excited. So stay tuned for that next video where I assemble the dozer. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. And please don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and just let me know what you're thinking, and I will get to them as soon as I see them. Again, thank you very much. Have a great day.